you suck at Elden Ring. Well, probably since you clicked on the video. But don't worry, we're gonna fix that right now. By the end of the video, you'll be able to beat whatever boss you're stuck on in 15 tries or less, or your money back, which is $0. After hundreds of hours of me dying with no help, I've learned these 3 steps and a little bonus tip to help anybody become Elden Lord. Let's start with step 1 and what I call the rules of Souls games. I'm going to show you a scenario I'm sure you're all familiar with. The big boss lifts their weapon high into the air. You, being a pro gamer you are, react immediately and dodge, only to notice the boss is still mid-attack. So you quickly dodge again, praying you did it in time, just to look up and see that no, the boss has still not swung. So you dodge one more time, praying even harder, and this time the boss does swing, and it just so happens to hit you square in the jaw right at the end of your roll. Now don't feel embarrassed, this is a rite of passage and what everyone refers to as panic rolling. Fixing this alone will make you better than the average player. It's really that easy. But as the name entails, it's not exactly a conscious choice. So we're gonna have to do some changing of your philosophy in your head. And to do that, we're gonna use the rules of Souls games. You need to ingrain these into your brain. Rule number 1, every move that an enemy has does have a way to not get hit by it somehow. This is validated by all of those no-hit runs. But even further than that, 99% of moves can be avoided consistently with just a well-timed dodge. Second rule, moves are generally set up to line up with dodge timings, meaning it's no coincidence that when you panic roll, you can't actually dodge the real attack. That is intentional design. This is why panic rolling is so dangerous in the first place. But on the flip side, a string of attacks can be dodged consistently if you're timing your dodges right. Third rule, this one seems obvious, but it's clear most people aren't actually paying attention. Most moves, and I'm talking like 99% of the moves in this game, are very linear and have zero variation to them. Only like 2 boss fights I know can change their moves mid-combo, and both of these variations can be spotted by paying attention to their animations, which you should be doing anyway. Fourth rule, you will always get another chance. It is okay if you die, I'm serious. It's always fun to try to first try the boss. I do it every single time, but after that, you should really spend more of your effort learning the moves as opposed to just trying to feel it out and win off the strength. That is, if you're trying to improve, which I assume you are because you clicked on the video. Now, if you're sitting there and saying, hey man, I already know all of this, that's great. That just means that you need to actually understand it. So let's go back to that first scenario, the long wind-up attack. If we start rolling immediately, we will get hit, so we need to wait. But how long do we wait? Well, you don't have the timing down right now. That'll come after you dodge it a couple of times, so we have to find it. The best way to find the timing is to just look for the actual swing. Have patience. Him holding it up poses no threat. It is only when he starts to swing that we actually need to act. So sit there and watch his arm and hand and wait. Just stand there like menacingly, a statue. Just stand there. You'll notice it's actually pretty easy to react and dodge, and even easier when you accept the fact that it's okay if you mess up and die. You can just try again. Have patience, watch for the swing, not the startup, and once you get the timing down on these long moves, you might even be able to start getting in some light attacks before you dodge the actual move. The quick summary of this lesson is to basically control your impulses. If you see the move and you recognize it as a long move, then hold on to your dodge. A lot of these long moves have a very telling startup, so look for these tells and lock in. You'll see how much of a difference that makes. Just this tip alone can carry you. Hopefully you now understand what I mean by changing your philosophy. You can't be scared of death here. You need to be cold and logical for the best results. Once you understand that there's no pressure to dying, it should be a lot easier and you'll be a lot cooler playing the game, I promise. Now, step number 2, we need to work on greed. I know how you feel, I get greedy all of the time, but especially if you're playing the DLC, you're gonna get heavily punished for being greedy. So how do you not get greedy? Well, understand how long the boss needs to recover from a move. I know it sounds obvious, but let me explain. This isn't the time that the boss ended a move and then also did the longest startup possible for the next one. You need to pretend that the boss will do its fastest move after every punish window. If you go for a heavy and you get hit by an attack that follows, that means you can't safely get a heavy and you need to try a light. If you can't get a light in, that means you probably just can't get an attack in and you just need to wait. You need to do this for all of the moves, and once you understand what attacks you can do safely after each of these boss moves, you've basically won the fight. Quick little side tip for you, if you're using a heavy weapon or a colossal weapon or just really anything slow, use the jumping heavy attacks. They are just broken. I'm not even joking, they feel unbalanced. Now, I'm not saying that I do this because I'm a warrior and I prefer to slugfest sometimes. That isn't a good idea, but I do it and it's fun. But if your goal is to improve, then this is important. Understand what moves you can properly punish the boss moves with. If you play fighting games, it's a lot like that. You can't punish with a super slow move unless they whiff a move with a super long recovery. One extra note about the DLC, healing has a similar time to a heavy attack. There are certain boss fights where you can really only safely heal after dodging a slow attack. The DLC is very hard on only giving you very small windows for things. You need to really not get greedy in the DLC. I cannot stress that enough. Quick summary of that, you can't do heavy attacks every time you dodge an attack. Learn what's the most damage you can get after each of the boss's attacks so that you don't get hit before you dodge. And understand that sometimes you need to dodge multiple attacks in a row before you get to attack. Again, this is only to improve. If you think this sounds lame, then you get in there and do what you want. I'm just trying to help those that want it. Now, it's time for that bonus tip I mentioned. This will not be for everyone, but for those who just want help with a particular boss, if you need help with a certain boss or a move and you don't care about figuring it out yourself, a pro strat that you can do is looking up a no-hit fight for that boss fight and watch how they dodge or handle certain things. I only recommend doing this when you're like really stuck because I think it takes away from the game, but hey, you do you. I do recommend before you consider yourself really stuck, you try this last step though. Step 3. Now this is something I still need to learn. It seems simple and small, but it can make a world of difference. If you're struggling with dodging an attack, especially an AoE attack, try running or jumping around the move. This doesn't work for everything, however it works way better than I thought, and it downright trivializes some boss fights. If you fight a giant fire trash can, you will know it when you see it. You should remember jumping especially. This fight was really tough. As soon as I learned what jumping does, I beat it in like 2 tries. Again, it's not for everything, but I'm telling you, give it a shot. Be creative in how you get around some moves. Sometimes you can just run behind bosses or jump over giant attacks and it's free damage. I'm pretty sure this is intended to use a lot and most people just don't at all. In summary of this, don't be afraid to try a creative solution to certain moves like jumping or running around or away even. They work surprisingly well. I know this sounds silly, but it really works so well. Hey guys, quick little tip in post-production, make sure you have a good build. I completely forgot this when I was writing what I was going to do for this video. I use a pretty bad build, a light greatsword that's just quality. It's just strength and dex. I use no incantations, no special ashes of war. It's bad. In this video that you're seeing, it's a shield and a sword. Also not a good build. If you're really good at the game, it makes up for it. But if you're just trying to like have some more fun or actually be good at Elden Ring, use some of the cooler stuff, some of the more special stuff. You know, use a bleed build, use incantations like Golden Vow. They boost your damage numbers so much. It really makes so much of a difference, and no one that would judge you for using these things is gonna judge you any differently regardless of what you did unless you're on a dance pad. So just have some fun, make your build a little better if you can. If you have a pride thing, hey, I get it, me too. But I'm just saying, really, no one's gonna judge you. I hope all this helps, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.